And I'm going to go ahead and share screen. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being part of Digital PNA. I'm going to share the screen here. Boom. Let me know if you can see that okay, folks. Excellent. Yeah, so thanks for being part of Digital PNA today. We've got a few more people coming in, but I'll go ahead and move forward to honor everyone's schedule. Make sure we're on time. That's my bobblehead. I'm moving on. Oh, how's this ironic? I'm wearing the same shirt. Is it real or is it Memorex? Okay. Actually, who's here? Who here's old enough to remember those commercials? Probably just me. Okay. That's depressing. Uh, these are the members. Look at all these shiny, happy faces. Oh, Rosie, I got to update your headshot. Thanks for reminding me. Zach, your picture there looks incredibly judgy, but very friendly at the same time. Thank you for sending me the new one. And hopefully, when JP jumps on, that's our newest member. I just want to remind folks that with Digital PNA and with covering the entire state of Washington, anybody you know, anybody that you bump into could potentially benefit from a membership like this. I know it's difficult at times because we're a small-ish group and we are spread out, but remember one-to-ones with 146 other members in the organization. Those can be done over the phone. It can be done in Zoom. And of course, if you like driving, like Rosie claims to occasionally, she can get on up here and meet with people face to face. So have some of those one-to-ones and expand your network and net worth. The numbers haven't moved. So if either of you, any of you have any closed business, could you report it to me, please? Put it in the chat window. I'll update the spreadsheet. If you've received any referrals from anyone that I'm not aware of yet, let me know that as well. But at the same time, again, for a smallish group that's in growth mode this year, we're doing pretty good. We've closed out over $51,000, and actually that's off by about 500 bucks. I just realized I forgot to update that number. But yeah, so May close business is a little bit more, just over 6,000, and we're at 52. Yeah, about 5,200 or so in close business. Okay. Little short-staffed here at the moment. So if you guys want to volunteer or voluntold yourselves for these, we need a photographer or video clipper. I don't know if JP is going to be sharing screens or anything today. Marcel, I saw your
I
hand
will
pop up.
video clip.
Appreciate that. Anybody want to be a tracker or meme maker? It's literally as it says. Listen for quotables. If you know somebody number drops, things like that, it can be fun. Then you can share it out to your networks and tag PNAnw or simply digital PNA as well. Anyone want that one today?
Can I do the story? Because I'm just not very good at it's gonna take me a while to make a meme, I feel like.
No problem. No problem. Yeah, update your story. You're welcome to do that. Rosie, can I put you on the spot for that tracker meme maker thing? You can even use hot pink.
Yeah, I can
All
give
right.
it.
And,
Well,
and and by
it's
the way, these don't have to be things that are done during the meeting. You could do it, within the next, couple hours after the meeting is done. You've consolidated your notes or whatever that you think is a quotable, etc.
and I just want to share real quick, you guys. So in your phone, if you hit story and you do create, you can literally make a text post in seconds. So all I did was click the plus button on Instagram and then up here the create button. I don't know if you guys can see that. And then you start typing the quotable, so it could literally take you 2 minutes. Um, anyways, feel free to reach out for one-to-one if you want to see that again.
Oh,
Awesome.
okay. So it doesn't have to be like a screenshot though, or something of
No,
this. It
no.
could be.
It could be, yeah, because then you place an image within that post and shrink it accordingly and whatnot. So yeah, just have fun with it. It's all for the sake of exposure. And again, who knows who on your Instagram network, for example, or any of the other socials might turn around and follow that stuff if you tag it, etc. And with that being said, taglines on social. I don't know if this always has to be an independent person. We all could and or should be doing this. So let's go ahead and move on for the sake of argument. We're going to do our 90 seconds ish. We've got time, so you can take a little longer if necessary, but we'll have a tangent as well. So let me go ahead and go back to this. Take that off and have you guys on the screen. Hello, lovelies, and Zach. Let's have Marcel start, and I'll put the order of the commercials in the chat screen.
All right. Well, good afternoon. Did you realize most people are drowning in information, but they're starving for understanding? At Dreamosity, we believe something simple. Data deserves beauty, and visuals accelerate understanding. Because when leaders can see momentum, they make decisions faster, teams communicate better, communities activate quicker, and remarkable work finally gets the attention it deserves. This isn't just graphic design, this is a visual movement, a movement helping creators, business owners, speakers, and community leaders turn conversations into clarity and clarity into action. So if you've ever felt like your message mattered more way than it's currently being presented, you're probably right. So whether it's data art, storytelling, campaigns, or visual leadership, we'd love to explore what your vision could look like when it's fully activated. Marcella Dreamosity, thanks.
What's up, guys? I'm Zach from the Skeltis Fitness, and I'm primarily helping busy professionals and people who are undergoing a weight loss journey. So, if you're somebody who feels like you are too slammed to find time to fix your nutrition and fitness habits, or if you're a individual who's undergoing a weight loss journey and you feel lost with some of the other components, I think that we would be a great fit, as that is what I specialize in, and my now future employees will also be specializing in.
Oh, yes, me next. Sorry, I was just making sure he was done.
Oh
Seriously.
yeah, you're good. You're good.
Dramatic pause. Dramatic pause.
Dramatic pause. So, Rosie with Tap Services. So, what I want to talk about this week, I keep getting these clients that come to me because of, bad situations with the previous bookkeeper. This new client that I got, um, my heart kind of broke for her because she's saying that things were tight for her for a while, so she had to stop bookkeeping services for a while with that bookkeeper that she had. Well, she went back to them because she says, okay, well, things are looking better. Now I can start again. She wasn't behind on her invoice payments to them. She paid everything up to date and everything. She tried to go back. Now, granted, she's 6 months behind. Well, what did they tell her? They said, no, we can't help you. And I was just shocked because I was like, what? Like your customer comes back to you? That usually means that you've done good work and they want to keep working with you. Things were just tight for them. Why would you not want to take them back? Like it, that just baffled me. So, I told her, I said, I am so sorry that happened. And I said, I can tell you with us, that will never happen. Even if things are tight, I'd prefer that you talk to me first rather than just saying, I need to cut off services because what's going to happen is when you come back, it's going to make us way too busy. So rather, I'd like to, work with clients to work out a payment plan or other things where it's not so dramatic on them. So, I tell business owners, I tell them that when they hire me, I always care about their business and I care about the relationship. And that's why I do what I do. And that's why I feel that I'm different than most accounting firms out there because I'm the type of person that won't leave you hanging, on purpose. And it just breaks. I feel like people represent us poorly because then businesses are like, oh, I don't want to work with bookkeepers if they're going to do that. But it's kind of like finding a doctor, you just keep trying, to find the right doctor until you click with one, and then you're like, you're my doctor forever until you move. But
Yeah.
but thankfully for me, I'm virtual, so I work anywhere I want to work. So
Awesome.
if you know anybody, please send them my way. I'm always happy to chat with them. Rosie with Tap Services.
Awesome. Thank you. So I put Mike next on the list, but he isn't here yet. He did text though and said that he was just going to be late. So I'm assuming he's dealing with work. I know they technically lost a photographer at the Puget Sound Business Journal. The person had a stroke. I
Ooh.
don't know the status of that person, but that threw everything into a tizzy last week. So Mike and the rest of the team were sort of, what am I trying to say, on call for anything else that had to be taken care of there. So crazy. Okay, so hi everybody. Brian Tremler. I co-own Laugh Tech with Miss Marcel Allen, and I own PNA. So thank you for being here today. I want to talk about Laugh Tech really quickly because Marcel and I had an amazing experience a few weeks ago. We started to work with a company. I think I might have mentioned it here once before. About 5 or 6 people left an existing general contracting organization and it was due to a number of things that they didn't believe in that were happening correctly, et cetera. All the negatives you can imagine in the general contracting world. No stigmas there or anything, right? So they left to form their own company, and we worked with them for a 4 hour or during a 4 hour session on a Saturday, and we took them through some of um, our Discover Your Mix / Six Methods of Humor curriculum. Now, Rosie's been through it. A number of other people in our extended network have as well. And we've been teaching from this curriculum that Marcel pulled out of my big, now empty brain 10 plus years ago that created this curriculum. And it was amazing to get these people excited about talking about their new business, the directions, but not ever slamming or being negative about the things and situations they came from. Because the last thing you want to do is, ostracize yourself from a community or turn around and just, drill into something when they were a ton of extenuating factors that were out of their control. So now they're talking about their organization, how they're excited, what they do different from their competition, their abilities. Overall, it's 30 plus years worth of experience between those members. They've got an incredible amount of skill set in all the places you want to have a general contracting organization have under the hood, for lack of better words. And it was just so rewarding for Marcel and I. Plus, it was oddly enough, it was in one of the owner's homes, and we got to be attacked on the regular by 2 Mancoon kittens the entire time, or cats, because they were just these ginormous pony cats walking around, and Rosie would have lost her mind because she's got cats and is a lover of all things feline. So, anyway, if you know organizations, groups, even individuals, if you're hiring people, Zach, if you want them on the same page as you and your vision, we can help with that. We do that by tricking you. We do that by making you have fun. Because when you do have fun, you learn faster, you learn quicker, you retain better and faster. And if you're having fun learning, you're enjoying the experience and more than likely able to incorporate things immediately after even the first session. So that's a great referral for us. And let's go ahead and move on. Thank you for the commercials, everybody. Marcel, it looked like you had something to say there for a second. No? Yeah, okay.
I mean, I always have something to say, but
Okay, mute her. No. Here. Oh, hey, JP's coming on. We're gonna throw a commercial his direction after we say hi. Dramatic pause. Dun, dun,
Buenos dias, Ohio
dun. Hey,
gozaimasu. Good
good to
morning.
see you, sir.
Morning.
How are you?
Hey, good. We just finished commercials, but now you popped on, so literally perfect timing. Give us a quick commercial, and then we'll go into the tangent, which is another
Is it not
trip
supposed to
around.
be 4:30? Am I late?
You're you're not. We call it fashionably not on time.
Huh, I got it marked
It's
as 4:30. I
oh
apologize. So
well,
I
it's
was thinking
12.
I was going to hang out with you 15 minutes early, but my
Oh yeah,
commercial.
no,
I
it's 12 to 1:30. So we're glad to see you, man. Thank you for coming.
totally apologize. I'll readjust my calendar.
No
So,
problem. So
oh,
yeah, so give
good
us a
morning,
commercial,
everyone.
JP, and then Michael will have a commercial since he just jumped on too.
Got it. So, commercial JP. I um what Proactive does is assist companies in growth. We focus in on, networking. We focus in on relationship building and do it fast. So very, very goal oriented, very, very execution oriented. And what we do is teach you how to use technology to do that on scale much faster than you normally can do as a human, and use technology to do that. There you go.
Awesome. Mike, give us your commercial, and then we'll go back around with the tangent.
Well, thank you. Sorry I am late. JP, when you get a chance, please send me a physical address of yours so I can fill out a record here because there is real interest here at the Puget
Okay.
Sound Business Journal in optimizing AI. So the Puget
Perfect.
Sound Business Journal connects business people. We do so as as a mechanism for business people to learn about what's going on in the community, their business community, to use that business intelligence to be more successful, and to make contact with other companies that may or may not be their prospective customers or prospective partners. It is a very changeable, very dynamic ecosystem. And in any situation like that, what you need is a person to help you navigate. I'm that person. So if you know of anybody who needs and wants to get in front of other business people, to sell what they have, to provide services, to connect, to partner, to get investors, that's pretty complicated. Let me know and I can help. Mike with the Puget Sound Business Journal.
Awesome. All right. Thank you for that. Going to share a screen really quickly. Let's just go ahead and start back up with Marcel. Put her on the spot. I know she loves this so much. Here's today's tangent. What is one digital trend you think business owners are underestimating right now? And just quickly, because that is a bit of a extreme curveball, think about maybe email newsletters making a comeback, communities replacing traditional social media engagement with actual on-sites, events, short-term video fatigue with dumb scrollers, etc. What do y'all think?
So, Marcel with the digital marketing agency. So, this is a very interesting question.
You're
I think the
welcome.
digital trend I'm seeing in my network, a lot of my clients are authors, and I have a software where I can literally get on a Zoom, do a 20, 30-minute interview with you, and literally create a book in minutes. And not like I actually just sold one yesterday, but I want to sell that to everybody because I think so many of us could be having a published book, whether it's an ebook or even just 15 quick blog articles. But so many of us are great at speaking and talking, but we hate writing. And we know that having content is important. And so again, if you or anybody you know wants to create a book or a workshop or something from just talking, there's a way that AI can help us with that. And I've been facilitating that process for my clients. So that is something that, you know, years ago it took a year or two to write a book, and now it can literally be a couple hours or a weekend. So there you go.
I guess I'm next. So I would actually say that like community or forum based environments, including school, like I'm going to be using, are something not a lot of people are tapping into because, and the reason that I think it is something that business owners aren't tapping into enough is because it's very easy to create a some type of community or forum or set of forums for customers, and it's also it's very user friendly as well for providing value as to what you do. So it would be a really good lead magnet for people as well, because it's such a user friendly platform. So whether that's providing some free value or educating, continuing to educate current customers or clients, it's great for that, as well as creating some sort of community element where people feel like they're a part of something beyond just themselves too.
You're on mute, Rosie.
Well, that was odd. So, anyways, uh, one of the things I was just thinking about as this was going around for the curveball in my world, probably digitally, one of the things that people that I feel that is underused, that I wish they would use more, is scheduling time with, Steve or I to really dig into your financials. Like there's not, I mean, we have maybe like 28 businesses that we work on right now, and there's not very many of them that want to schedule that time or don't put it as a priority. So I really think it's underutilized because if you don't know like you get into the nitty-gritty of your business and really understand like how much money's coming in and expenses going out and planning ahead, it can ruin a business. And Marcel recommended the book Profit First, which I truly love. And I'm slowly implementing like the ideas of different bank accounts and all this other stuff, but it really talks about working, not working on the bit or what's the term, working for the business versus on the business or something like that, where you're actually looking from a business owner perspective and you're not just doing the daily grind of everything. So it's one of those things that I wish more people would do. And then also just, planning ahead for taxes. A lot of people, when they do their taxes at the end and their revenue goes up, and they're like, well, why am I getting an underpayment penalty? And I said, because your revenue went up. And if you don't have a bookkeeper that provides you guidance on what your revenue looks like and you don't meet with them on a regular basis, they're not going to be able to say, wow, your revenue went up. What do you think about making a quarterly payment to the IRS so that you don't get penalized in the next year? Just little things like that. So, but yeah, so that's one of the things that I feel that's being underutilized that I want to talk more about. So I know Marcel has been trying to get me to do videos. I'm almost there. Almost, I promise. Brian, go for it.
Okay, thank you. So those of you who know me, for lack of better words, or at least the last 4 months of me, I have been in like hardcore business bed with JP. He's been educating me and enlightening me regarding AI. Most of you know the app that I built is strictly AI based. And one thing I haven't played with are the AI-based tools to help with video. And what I mean by that is I personally cannot stand the AI commercials. Like I went to a movie the other day and the movie commercials about products prior to the previews, a lot of them were AI generated, like roofing and all these people moving slow, and you could tell there's a few things off and stuff like that. But we're in the infant stage of that being noticeable and recognizable. Soon it's going to be completely, unable to determine if it's fake or not. It's getting bigger and better every single day. And to me, it's scary, but it's fascinating. And I need to figure out a good way to help process the hours and hours and hours of footage I have. For example, me at events as an MC, as an auctioneer, all that type of stuff, and how to have cap cut level quality, frankly, without me doing the work. Like, can I just dump it all in and say, create 15 shorts? And there are some out there. But where I'm basically going with this, I know, since some of you are privately rolling your eyes, I just need to get ahead of this instead of play catch up on that, because that digital trend, if you think it's not happening now, pay closer attention to your TikTok, pay attention even better to Instagram and Facebook and what's happening. If we're not getting behind that eight ball, or maybe in front of whatever regarding using video with digital compilations that are bigger, better, faster, we're going to lose. And that makes me nervous. So I think that's happening. I certainly underestimated it. I'd like to stop, please. Please help. Okay, next up.
Yeah, I think that's me, and I think that's true. I think that
Yeah.
it is a lot of the underestimating the power of multimedia to engage. I also think that many companies, many business owners are not using the data that they have access to truly target the right market. I think that the key is to get in front of the right people and barring that, to build the right people by educating them about your product and service. And many business owners don't take that information and drive down to the right audience. They just want to see big, broad numbers. So similar to what Zach said, it's about community. It's about either finding the right community or building the right community. It's not about trying to boil the ocean.
Nice.
I
JP,
guess I
care
guess
to
that
share
leaves
your
it to
thoughts?
my turn, huh?
Yeah.
So the digital trend, that's a totally easy one. Agentic AI. And you hear the words a lot, but what it actually means is, and Gartner and several other people are predicting that more than half of all enterprise applications will be agentic, meaning that there's something out there. I don't like the word bot because of all of the negative connotations to it, performing tasks, sometimes complex tasks with decision-making capabilities, 40%, 50% by the end of this year. And that scares a lot of people. So it's if what you have to consider is all of you that are everyone in this room that is using, the technology of where it's at now, just take a wild stab at how much time it's saving you. And, I can tell you within, it's sad to me, but within Oracle, they laid off 6,000 people last month. Microsoft laid off 6,000, a couple months back, and there's another 1,000. Huge tech companies are betting big and laying off people because they're becoming redundant. One person can cover the ground of 10, 15 people. And, it's sad in a way, but you're not going to stop it. And so what I would say is the digital trend is, using AI as you do now for better answers. To me, it's just simply knowledge. But, using it to make better decisions faster. Just like what you said, Brian, on the pictures. We're here now to where, if you've ever watched a video game, it's tough to tell a human versus the video. If you're watching movies, it's tough to tell. We've had digital movies for a while where actors are playing amongst creatures and everything else, and so it's here now. What I would say is not everybody has adopted it yet, and generally, as you get into the smaller businesses, they're still trying to figure out. It's like Michael was kind enough to say early, they're interested because they're trying to figure it out, and a lot of people just don't know the super basics. How do you make it talk like you? What does your business do? So it'll give you a reasonable answer. You're muted, bud.
Thank you for that. Hopefully this tangent makes you think, right? And I do love the fact that these are recorded, and I will admit something to the general public here. I'm about a month and a half behind in posting digital PNA videos on YouTube, but that's on my finish list. So these will all be up there. Stuff like what we just talked about, take that snippet and get that out. Can a bot do that? I don't know, can it? Anyway, these tangents are done this way on purpose just to get us thinking. And I can't think of a better way than to introduce our speaker of the day. For starters, will you need to be sharing screen at any point, JP?
Nope, we're good.
Okay, so I'm going to share temporarily.
Okay.
and introduce our speaker.
Oh,
Look at that.
wow.
MySpace photo looks great. I got JP
Yep.
O'Donnell, President and CEO of Proactive Business Development Accelerator. JP, I get to ask you a couple quick silly questions, kind of a
Fire away.
Bible of sorts. How long have you owned and been the leader of this business? And then how long in the industry?
Okay.
And I get
So
one more
this
question.
particular business is 5 years old.
Okay. And then in the industry in general,
Since I was 20.
there you
So that
go.
would be 45 years.
I was gonna say you're only 30 now, so Jesus, not
Right.
long.
Right. Well,
Okay.
you're looking at an AI version of me on screen there.
There you go. And I think I know this since you and I talk on the regular, but give
What's
us a
that?
seldom known personal fact and a hobby or something you like doing when you're not working.
Oh, that's an easy one. I share this all the time. I am a professional Bigfoot hunter and do so with the Finding Bigfoot crew, you know, those guys. So
That's so
pretty
Really?
regularly. And how I fell into that was everybody knew I liked to hike. And I got talked into with a good buddy into hiking in the winter time in within the Seattle area. They were looking for the Olympic Project, which is one of the Bigfoot hunting companies, I guess, or groups, got donated a bunch of cameras and asked for hikers to go plant cameras in Olympic National Forest at these locations. And that's how I got involved. So basically, two cameras on the backpack, drive as far as you can, then walk to the spot and strap a camera to a tree. And so, I always told them, look, if we ever find this guy, it's because it's all me, because my camera was the one that took the picture. But no, I just got interested. And when that buddy passed away about 7 years ago, I was, we were the kind of buds that we could just, get shit faced around a fire and talk trash and all of that kind of stuff. And he passed super suddenly. Yeah, there he is.
he's
He
playing
was a
hard to
non
get.
he was personally a non-believer, and we just talked all the time. But when he passed, there was sort of a hole for people to go out into the wilderness with me because I was basically a city kid. And so I just asked the group, "Hey, do you mind if I join you on one of them?" They said, "Absolutely, come along." With I'm a total skeptic, but and so I've probably gone on 15, 20 different expeditions with the guys. And I'd say I'm still interested, but I'm no longer really a skeptic. Never seen the big guy personally, but most of them have. But I've had personal experiences that you just can't explain. So, is that long
Wow.
enough, or you want me to go a few more
I was
minutes?
going to say maybe that should be your whole presentation. I'm
Okay, then we can do
fascinated, but
this.
no.
So
So
I can roll from Bigfoot to business because a lot of people ask me about it because such a funny thing to discuss in business, and then I get
I
asked the.
just real
Go ahead.
quick. I'm going to start the timer. You have 20 minutes. Midway through, you'll see yellow. At a minute
Okay,
to wrap up, you'll see red. So go for it. Dazzle us.
go. So, my personal experiences in that world is I've always just been interested in things. If you've got a way out there theory, I'm kind of going, yeah, I don't think so, but give me the detail. Why do you think that? And I go, look, whether it be whatever, paranormal or anything like that, I'm just interested. And same in business. The Bigfoot thing specifically, I was interested in why these guys believe that a scary, cryptid monster actually exists. Which, what do you think? And interestingly enough, there's a lot of like scientists and things like that are involved in that group, and they'll sit down and tell you, well, this is why. Most of it has to do with they've seen him, or there is evidence. And so my personal experiences up near Lake Cochise. So I'm going to talk about specifically Washington first. Up near Lake Cochise, back behind it, there's just huge area that you can't get other than on foot. And so I was back there on a cliff face, 2 in the morning, sitting next to a human, a person, with everybody was out in front of me and I could see them on my walkie-talkie where everybody was located, and a large rock came in flying in from behind us. And so I flipped around with infrared glasses, scanned the forest. It was a somewhat open forest behind me. Nobody was there. And then it happened again about 15 minutes later, where a rock came down and landed about 5 feet away. And you have to think, we're all armed. What kind of an idiot's going to be out at 2 in the morning, 20, 30 miles from any roads and throw a rock of that size? What do you know of in the forest that can throw a rock? Doesn't make it Bigfoot. But I've heard whistling. In Montana, we were standing in a stream bed looking at a big old bear track, grizzly track, and I asked him, "Hey, show me how to cast a track. I'm not familiar with how to do that." And while we were standing around, so he showed me how to pour the cast and all that kind of stuff. And while we're standing there, it's broad daylight. We're in Montana, just about 30 miles north of Yellowstone, and back in the mountains. And so one road in, we were about 5 miles off the end of that road. That road was about 20 miles off of a main road, so way back in the wilderness. And we both heard two sounded like women, and it sounded like they were speaking like Chinese. It was guttural, choppy guttural language, something to that effect. And, where in the forest do you hear? And I mean, once again, broke out the binoculars because it was daytime, nothing. So, and then I've heard similar in Montana. Once again, middle of the night, sitting next to each other, and you don't see what you see on TV. Nobody's going, "Hey, did you hear that?" or getting on walkie-talkies and talking. You just don't do that. It's completely dark, completely quiet. There is no talking, no lights at all. And the guy next to me decided to tap the log, and he tapped a certain rhythm, and it was about 30 seconds later, we heard the same tap come back at us out from out in front of us in the forest. And I pulled out the binoculars and saw what appeared to be, a blob. And I couldn't tell am I looking at an elk? Am I looking at a bear? What am I looking at? But there's something light out in front of us. And it tapped 3 times. We tapped, it tapped back the same pattern at us. And so, no, we didn't get up and run towards it because it's terrifying. But there's the Bigfoot stories. I've got a few more of them, but let's get to business really quick. So I just have always, since I was a kid, been interested in things where a lot of you, sat down and played board games with dad or family games and stuff like that. My dad played interest rate games, real estate games, and stock market games with me. Really interesting dad. But, that guy to this day, I still, he'd go, "Okay, you bought a house for X and you put so much down and the interest rate is X. What's your payment going to be?" And he could pull it out of the top of his head. Just, I was like, wow, okay. So entrepreneur early. And what the one pattern about me is once I focus in on, okay, what is the target? And you'll hear me say it as I interact with you and Michael, same thing. What's the goal? What are you trying to accomplish? Great. Here's how we get there. Is how I usually operate. And in business, I've always been like that. Education, same way. High school was about 2 years. Then college was about 2 years. I went into the Air Force because I could do it faster and study while I was a cop in the Air Force. That kind of a thing has always been the way I've operated. Pilot's license was 8 weeks. Those kinds of things, just super focused in. Here's the target. I'm not in college. I did not like, okay, I've got to take a humanities class. That's got nothing to do with business. Those kinds of things. I just wasn't wild about it. And I'm the same way in business. If it is taking you off topic or off the target, leave it behind. Go straight for. And AI intrigued me where it was at. My first experience with it was back when Microsoft purchased AI, or a portion of it. When they started investing in it, it just interested me. What is it? What does it do? Why? And to me, it's knowledge. And knowledge is value. Knowledge is what brings, is what brought Ireland out of the out of poor land. In almost any country where you go and they're doing well, they're educated. And to me, that's the value of AI is you it's knowledge sitting there of the entire world. How are you going to use it to benefit you for your business? And so, what the screen hasn't turned yellow yet, Brian. Am I getting close?
You've got plenty of time. We're at
Okay.
6.5 minutes. You've got, 14 left.
Gotcha. Okay. So, my journey in it was from, across business was, I started young, which is a completely unrelated thing. My first business was a flower where a lot of people mowed lawns and stuff. Mine was a flower shop. And so then I went into the limousine business at like 17 and joined the military. Is the way that I did. So not the common route, but basically it just learned, how do you build a business? And almost always the issue that people are having is revenue. Revenue doesn't solve everything, but it sure solves a lot, and almost always people are looking for, new clients, new products to sell, more ways to sell their existing clients. That's almost always the answer of every business. And so as I, moved along in the world, I became interested in technology and what it could accomplish. So my first business up in the Northwest was also called Proactive. I named this one Proactive so that the old guy could remember the name of his own damn company. So I just changed the three letters at the end and it's good. It's Proactive. So I can remember what to say when somebody asks me. And the funny thing is, when somebody asks me about one of my other companies, I stumble. Which one is it again? But all of them are related to how can I help people. The purpose for Proactive was about 5 years ago. I was doing consulting for a couple of people, and I really didn't like it because it seemed like babysitting to me. Hey, this is what you should do. Did you do it? Oh, well, the dog ate my homework, kids had soccer practice, life got in the way. And I know Zach, you understand this one. That's just sort of what happens. I didn't get to the gym today because. And after a while I got to where, well, why are you paying me if you're not going to do it? It's like, you ask the doctor, I'm sick, and he says, take the pill. You don't take the pill. And now you're going to complain you're not getting better. Why is that? And so what ended up happening was a few things aligned is Microsoft had done one of their famous, we're going to switch directions. And two of my clients, 100% focused in on Microsoft, hadn't kept their eyes on where is Microsoft heading. They were focused on, where is Microsoft now and what can we do to support that? So they focused in 100% of their business on where Microsoft was now. And there was a newer shiny object. Microsoft changed directions, and they were done. The other one was in the process of being sold, which is usually when I was a consultant, that was my, what is your purpose with your business? Most people wanted to sell the business or retire. And I was like, okay, here's how we're going to do that. And I would embed with the team. So that was my goal. So the one that was being purchased reached the goal. Good. My day's done. I'm going to move to Japan. So in IAMCP, which is Microsoft's channel partners, I said, guys, I'm done with 3. I'm going to move countries. And they go, can you help me? I said, sure. What do you need? I could do it as a kind of a hobby in Japan. Well, one of the guys has Microsoft contracts, and it was the owner of AIM International, and he has Microsoft contracts to do go-to-market geo expansion plans for partners, Microsoft partners. If you didn't know, there's somewhere between 600,000 and 1 million Microsoft partners in the world, depending on who you ask. So he generally does strategy and process. And we got to talking, and I said, well, okay, how many people actually do the process? And he started laughing. He goes, very few. Microsoft pays for this strategy and process session and go, okay, here's the book, here's the playbook, go get them. And they do nothing, or they do very little, or they do a piece of it. And it's so, to me, resonated like, how many of you read a book on an author, about inspirational or motivational or, business, self-help, anything like that. I always ask, how many books have you read? And everybody raises their hand. And I go, okay, how many of you actually did it? And you hear crickets. So he just asked, could you help? So that in that world, what proactive does is simply execute. You create the plans, you create it, we execute. And I'm going to show you how to execute with the plan. And so that's how proactive was created. And you'll laugh at me because my math was, well, I think there's still 5 work days in a week, and I think I can handle 2 a day. So I think that 10 customers is about my limit. And what really rocked my world was tying up with Redmond Partner Group and Paul. We created our own company called Redmond Partner Group. I went to 30 in about 30 days, and then it became 90, and then it became 300. And I was just scrambling to go, okay, how do I scale? And the interesting thing is the way that I scaled was AI. It's going, okay, created my own board, created my own, everybody's got their own tasks, created the agentic AI to go, okay, this person, that's on my board that does this particular task, who's all the people in the world that are known for that, and give them that information and go perform this task. And so, you hear a lot about there'll be a first $1 billion solo entrepreneur, and that's way out of my league. But my original goal was, can I create a multi-million-dollar company with one person and use agents, AIs, avatars? I have virtual assistants. I'm up to about 14 of them. Those are humans somewhere else on the world that are behind a computer. I generally like third world countries where I can help people. And agents, meaning agents now, human agents, consultants that do strategy and want somebody to execute. And so that's how Proactive is built. I achieved goal number 1. Goal number 2 was to sell it in 3 to 5, and I don't think I'm going to do that. What I'm really looking for is somebody of a generation or 2 behind me, or somebody within my circle that wants to learn what I do, because it ain't rocket science, man, and just carry the business forward for themselves. And that's me. So how I can help you, if I've got a few more minutes, how I can help you is apply that knowledge and apply that technique specifically for you to reach your goal. And I'm always interested in just different businesses. Like, Zach, your business interests me. It's not something, my brother's in a similar interest. And so he looks at the world differently. And I go, okay, how would I apply what I know to help you? And like Michael, publication is not in my normal world is buried in Microsoft. You got, brilliant technical people that can't sell a damn thing. They got this great idea. It's this widget's going to, rule the world. Okay, who wants one? They're like, well, I sit in my basement on a computer. I don't know anyone. Like, okay. But so that's what I do, is just take what is your goal and try to apply, technology to it as fast as I can to go, okay, here's the direct goal. And so I'm using AI to, first of all, who are you? And this will sound familiar to all of you sound in my class. Who are you and what do you sound like? What is your voice? What does your company do? And then we take that and go, okay, who's going to want one? What's your value? Who's going to want one? What do they do? Where do they live? What associations are they in? And just start the networking process. What you haven't seen, and a few of you have, I think Marcel and Brian have seen it, is I have an automation tool that helps with that, that does the outreach. Highly personal, highly relatable to you. The person at the other one would have zero idea that you are not manually typing out every word. And so they are your words. And so you are talking to them. They just don't realize it's happening automatically at their end. And you can do it on scale. And so, a lot of people either call BS or get shocked when I say I have thousands of conversations with people a day. And, even my own mother, and I'll tell you that story another time because we're running short on time. But my own mother has no idea if it's me or if it's, who's talking. So that's about it.
Fantastic. JP, we're opening up now for questions, basically. So all of you jump off mute if you haven't already and hit them up. Actually, super quick, at about quarter after, I'm going to have to turn the control over to Marcel because it's early dismissal for my kids today. So I get to run, but go for it.
JP, if
Yeah.
I wanted to build a nationwide campaign with the tactic that you taught me on LinkedIn about like the client briefs, like that, so I've been doing that pretty consistently. But if I wanted to clarify, like say I wanted 10 people in every state and then 20 people in every state, or like how would you make a nationwide campaign versus just poking randomly in Washington State here, which is kind of what I've been doing.
So what I would do is take your top clients that you
Mhm,
have now, run them all into AI, just like what you did,
mhm,
right? So instead of what I taught you to do was take them one at a time and create a client brief on one at a time.
mhm.
What I would do is just go to your AI. We could do it now on screen if you'd like. Ask AI, who are my top 5 clients? So
Yeah.
it's going to ask you, well, is it top 5 by revenue? Is it top 5 by your friends? What is top for you? So you have to tell it that. Once you do that, what's the trend with them? What's the commonality? What is the triggering events that
Mhm,
caused them to do business with you? You want it to know that information and think about it. You want to tweak that. Then you say, who else, where do these people live? So my guess, the fast answer to what you're saying is those people, there's probably in a business association. That business association, like where we're at now, is a business association is a networking association. That's what we're sitting right now.
mhm,
There are national ones, right?
mhm,
Regional, personal is far better, but there are national ones. And so I would look for that with your clients
mhm,
and simply join it. So my feeling is what you do has value.
mhm.
Somebody's going to want one. Go make friends in that pack. And you can use AI to decipher all of that really quick and go, here's the business associations. Here are the groups they may be in if it's on social media, and just make friends.
Yeah, love that. Go
Yeah.
make friends in that pack. I like that. It's a
Yeah.
quotable.
Yeah, for me, that's what I do. It's funny for the first, most of you may or may not know my wife's Japanese, and she was for the first few years trying to figure out what exactly does JP do because he's golfing and hanging out and hang gliding and bungee jumping and calling it business. I go, well, look, I'm with customers, you know. So she's like, I can't figure it out. But when I heard her say, I think he's a professional friend, I was like, love it. Oh,
Oh.
yeah. So that's what I would say I do. Anybody else?
Oh yeah.
Zach,
I was
go
gonna
for it.
say, yo, that's pretty mind blowing. You went from consulting to like really like mastering AI and being able to implement it in a way that like reduces or eliminates labor, et cetera. That would have to be outsourced. Like I get that you still have VAs and whatnot, but like how did you go from consulting to like learning this so well? Like, did you have,
Years.
did you have some like, a period in your life where this was like, like what you were doing when you had, you know, when you had time? Like, were you treating this like,
Yes. Yes. And so for me, it takes forever to make a decision. That's just me, right? Once I decide there's the target, it's easy. I go from, okay, I'm going to stand in a field and take a shotgun blast out in several directions and hope something gets hit to, a sniper rifle. And that's to me is when you pick a goal, and I can use an easy one analogy here. When you drive to wherever you're going to go, you have multiple directions, multiple streets, multiple ways of getting there. You generally pick one. Are you laser focused on, is your GPS set on fastest path, easiest path, no tolls? There's all of those things that can sidetrack you in business. So for me, it's always fastest path, but I've taken all of the paths so that there's a traffic jam in front of me. I can hang a right and get there. I got to go this way, that way, this way, that way to get there. And we all do that in life. You've got to do that in business. Anybody that's successful, because trust me, I've done research on just about anybody you can think of that was successful, has done what they do. First of all, they enjoy it almost always, and they've done it 10,000 times. If you're looking at a sports athlete, you put them next to a high school kid with talent, you can see the talent in the high school kid immediately, but he hasn't done it 10,000 times. And so, and it's just like with what you do, I bet you've done what you do many, many, many times, which makes you the expert. So to answer your question, with me and AI and the experience that Brian had with me was back in like 2013. So I just had the experience of, hey, I could do this faster. And I was like, okay, I can accomplish more, for the same moment in time. And that was it.
Wow. No, that's crazy. Do you think, one last question, if you guys don't
Good.
mind,
Go
like,
ahead. Go ahead.
what do you think, if any, what do you think, if any, are the long-term limitations to it? Like where do you think the asymptote is within the context of business? Like which parts do you think will never be outsourceable so that as a business owner that you're over time working towards that asymptote?
Well, what I think is wrong, but I think the limit and what I do is sales. And trust me, when I'm at Microsoft and speaking at a conference amongst them, the number one question they always ask me is, do I think that AI avatars bots will replace humans? And I go, yes, in a lot of industries, but in the human connection, me and you, no, it's not going to. Here's, the scary part is if you go to, and I'm gonna take a left turn here really quick. I walk in the mall here and there are robot animals, robot pets, robot security police all around me. There's robot in Japan, there's robot waitresses that deliver the food to your table. So yes, a lot of people are going to replace, but there's no what I say, you're not being tricked. You're dealing with a human. And so when you're in a video game, an interesting thing was amongst the Microsoft crowd, they asked me, do I think that an AI bot can replace sales? The answer is yes, in a lot of cases. A lot of the stuff like you guys deal with your banks and utilities and everything else, how the hell do you know that if you're talking to a person? Because now a person can be on screen. I mean, if you go to YouTube and go look, or you watch movies or any of that kind of stuff, it's hard to tell who the human is or who isn't. You know what I mean? And OnlyFans is a classic example. There's a lot of non-humans on there, and they're like, and unfortunately, there's a lot of sadness in the world. In Japan, it's just a huge number of single people, and they go to these cafes and talk to avatars on the screen and pay money to do that. And you're like, man, go get a friend.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an interesting world, but I don't think it's going to be able to replace human compassion. For me, the human brain is still by far, the most knowledge, can think faster than anything. But you want a quick, concise answer. AI can help you get there, but a human still has to be, decide. It's like as much as I do in AI, I still go, yeah, that's right. I still have to skim it and I'm constantly changing. And it wanders on me. It every once in a while, like this morning, it's gave me my calendar. I said good morning to it, and it gave me my calendar for yesterday. I'm like, hey, you got the wrong day. It's like, oh, my bad. Sorry. Here you go. Here's your calendar for today. So it still makes mistakes, but occasionally, no, she's not awake right now, but my wife makes mistakes occasionally. And so does my personal assistant, who is a human. The scary part is when all three of them make a mistake in the same day. It just throws I'm like, okay, I'm done. I'm going to go for a walk. But anybody else got a question? Yeah, and I'm happy to answer as many as you want, Zach. I'd say just call me and let's chat. I mean, I'm happy to help you specific to your company going, okay, here's how I would accomplish X.
Yeah, I'd be
Well,
curious too in my situation, as you know, in the bookkeeping accounting world, because they talk about um so many accountants, like some other firms are like, oh, they're trying to use AI and be more efficient and everything else. But I have found that if you don't vet, I use Chat GPT kind of like a knowledge base kind of
Right,
in a way.
right.
I'll read it. Like I asked it the other day. I said, I knew the answer, but I just kind of wanted to test it out and did a snapshot of the DOR website. And I said, okay, I have a client that's a web designer
Hmm.
because we know that laws changed, right? And I pasted
Hmm.
it and said, what classifications should I pick? And it just said sales and use tax. I'm like, "Well, no, that's not correct because last year in October, the rules changed for Washington State." And
Hmm.
they're like, oh, yes, you are correct. And then,
Yeah.
that stuff.
Well, I'll tell you the reason it did that is because, there's two things that most people don't realize about AI. It had to be taught to lie. Lie is a strong word, but on any topic, there are multiple opinions.
Mhm.
It's like everybody watching football or baseball has an opinion on what pitch should have been thrown or what play should have been thrown.
Okay.
And in order for AI to do what it does, it had to be taught to lie. So the technical term
Interesting.
for that is shit. It makes shit up. And because it generalizes. The way to
Okay.
get around that is exactly what, if any of you sat in my class, which Michael did, the way to get around that and to narrow it in is to teach it the topic. So in your particular case, with your particular case, it generalized across the board. It wouldn't know, you would automatically assuming it knew that specific thing that you knew.
Uh,
So in order to ask that question, what I would have said was, if you're talking Washington State, finance law or Washington State tax law or something like that, I would say specifically review Washington State tax law. Okay, give me all the rules. I'm specifically interested in this rule.
mhm,
Then, here are all of the available. What was the word you used? All the available codes.
mhm.
Which codes would you think would be relative to this client? Well, if you generally say this client is in this business, it's still not going to know. But if you give it that client's business, here is their business, here is their website, here is their things,
Uh-huh.
it would have been spot on in minutes. So the thing that most people miss is AI is a general knowledge base, but it's got huge ability to focus in if you give it the focus. And that's why I usually start is going, man, give it your own voice to start with,
Mhm.
give it your own company to start with. So now it knows what you do and you can
Mhm.
talk to it back and forth. And then as you start reaching out to my clients, you want to give them as much information on your clients because what you're looking for is synergy, And so for me, the things that are important, there is that AI learns natural human conversational progression, not hi, do you want to marry me?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Which is
Mhm.
what you read in most AI, and that's why it annoys you. They haven't done the work. Is start with hello, how's life? How's the family? How's the dog? Okay, how's business? That's how we talk,
Mhm.
and you have to teach it that.
Interesting. Okay.
So in that case, here's what I would do. Go to a new thread. give it all of that information in the background, then ask the same question and see what it comes up with, and you'll notice the difference.
Okay.
Okay.
That is
Excellent.
interesting.
Good Q&A. So let's dive into the speech breakout. And JP, so this is a chance for you to kind of see how well we paid attention. Did we, better understand and identify how to just refer to you and send you clients? So you get to take a back seat, everybody else can kind of come off mute, and let's dive through our speech breakout. So who is his target market? Who should we be listening for? What businesses or people need his services?
Everybody.
Yeah.